It wasn't your fault, you know. Why, half the crew would be spinning in that black abyss if not for...
Look, don't you get it? I screwed up. I mean, for 2 seconds, I thought that maybe I could do something right, but... I just... Just forget it. Forget it.
What drives you? What is your purpose? Am I broken? What's wrong with me? For many of us, these questions are an inevitable and uncomfortable reality. What if we aren't able to do anything but screw up? Maybe in a way, we're destined for failure. We have to find our reason to persevere through hardship because, let's be honest, life alone is rarely sufficient enough a reason for us to want to soldier the storms and take charge of our own destinies. Existence itself is not what drives us toward fulfillment. Purpose is.
Jim, I don't want to lose you.
Mom, you won't. I'll make you proud.
On the surface, Jim has a lot going for him. He's a young man with above-average intelligence, able to build his own windsurfer, of which he's also athletic and skilled enough to use quite well. He's stepped up and helped his mother run her bed and breakfast since his father left him at a very young age. He's a bit withdrawn, but seems very self-reflective, and in a deleted scene we see he can even be good with kids. But the problem lies in his rebellious spirit. Jim simply can't seem to stay out of trouble, being the bane of local law enforcement and very close to taking a trip to a delinquent youth center. As children, we may have looked at Jim or other young characters as a reflection of us in a way, their problems and attitudes mirrored ours at the time in some way. So we would sometimes project our own feelings and experiences onto them, probably some we didn't even yet understand, and why not? He's cool, lives fast, isn't the toughest but still won't let people push him or those he cares about around, and has a strained relationship with his mother and really any authority. What child doesn't? Who doesn't relate to him as a child? Always pushing the social limits in our parents' tolerance, finding the barriers of what's okay and not okay. We relate, albeit in a very superficial kind of way. But as we grow and approach Jim's age, or even as we were entering the world as young adults, the movie and this character becomes something truly special. Because the overarching theme of the movie isn't just a young man finding himself, it's about the meaning of life. Your life. We need a reason to shoulder responsibility, to enact change in ourselves and inspire it in others, and in some cases even to just tolerate the burden of living. Jim is constantly being told he's a troublemaker, that he's ruining his life whenever he does something, anything wrong. And sure, he's being reckless and acting stupid, but he's never given what he wants out of it, to stop feeling like a screw-up. He isn't stupid and he knows his desire to act out is bad, but what is the alternative? Why should he abandon all his hobbies and pastimes and just focus on helping his mother, on just doing the right thing? What kind of life is that? How long will he have to fight this urge for excitement, this entire other side of himself? This partly comes from lacking a father with no strong figure to model healthy masculine behaviors off of and to teach Jim lessons about responsibility for yourself as well as others.
Your father not the teaching sort?
No. He was more the taking off and never coming back sort.
Jim did actually learn these lessons eventually, but through helping his mother, which unfortunately left a gap in experience because her worrisome and risk-averse nature is directly opposed to Jim's natural curiosity and bravery. Sure, his mother is at her wit's end, but she believes Jim was beginning to turn around despite being given no prior reason to believe that. She clearly is not aware of what her son is doing or why. And while yes, she cares and yes, she is overworked, she's very clearly not doing enough for Jim. Just do this, or why can't you not do that, are questions we all receive from someone in our lives at some point. And when has that question ever helped you? Now, this isn't a criticism of her, far from it. She's a very realistic single mother, trying her best to make sense of her teenage boy as a grown woman and failing to find common ground, coping with her husband's abandonment of the family while running a business alone. Perhaps she even feels guilty about making Jim sacrifice so much of his youth to help her, even if it was necessary to survive at the time. And this manifests in her perceived softness toward him? I don't know. In any case, every fight is meaningless to Jim. He doesn't know why he acts out so much, why he can't tolerate the simple and quiet life he has, or what he really even wants outside of something different. He just knows he wants more from life, but doesn't know where to get it. I hear this type of storyline often criticized, and rightly so if it's vapid or lacks depth, the idea of just simply wanting more. But when done well, to call it overused or formulaic would be like critiquing a love story as being cliché for including, well, romance. Jim is experiencing the most relatable human feeling that often we don't talk about: disappointment. Well, disappointment and despair. He knows what he wants deep down, but it comes with danger, and he isn't sure that he will be ready, or if he's even able, to conquer the challenges that lie ahead. We all want to be useful, we all want to be wanted, and whether it be from fighting for social change or beating an entire game with the least optimal gear, we do these things because it informs us of our abilities. We know we can do it because we've done something challenging before, and so we've confidence in ourselves that we can be of help, even if only a little.
Your rights are my responsibility. That's what they are, technically. You just can't have only half of that discussion. And the question is, well, what the hell are you leaving out if you only have that half of the discussion? And the answer is, well, you're leaving out responsibility. And then the question is, well, what are you leaving out if you're leaving out responsibility? And the answer might be, well, maybe you're leaving out the meaning of life.
James Hawkins is a very typical young man who lacks a father figure, not necessarily hurting anyone or abandoning his obligations, and yet he still finds himself in frequent trouble. It's never made clear why he's on probation when the movie starts, but with his wind sailing into restricted areas, we get a good sense that James has little respect for rules or authority. He's angsty and a bit nihilistic, brewing on his own ineptitude when it comes to something as simple as stay out of trouble.
Jim, I just don't want to see you throw away your entire future.
Yeah, what future?
To James, he isn't really doing anything wrong and yet is being punished. There's an inescapable inevitability to that must be terrifying. His mother worries, and James takes this seriously, but he almost seems incapable of changing, even despite his presumably best efforts to do so. So, when he gets the chance to join a real crew of a spaceship working alongside a decorated captain and her trusted companion, he's clearly very ecstatic. That is, until he is immediately relieved of the treasure map he obtained, shoved below deck into the care of an old, overweight cook who makes him mop and stay out of the way, and, once again, James becomes the obstacle he always knew he was. After all, why would they want him working with them instead of away from them? He's just a dumb kid anyway, he'll probably screw it up somehow, right? This is what this response says to James, and it feels like rejection. Once again, his sense of purpose is lost, not because he doesn't have a clear goal in mind, finding Treasure Planet, but because he feels as if he is too incompetent to see this all through, and perhaps he isn't trusted for good reason, that he is a spectator in someone else's story.
Mr. Hawkins, in the future you will address me as Captain or Ma'am. Is that clear? Mr. Hawkins?
Yes, ma'am.
Consider this. While most struggle finding their road on this planet, James has to find his in the stars of the universe. The burden of such existential weight can be crushing on someone so young and unsure of himself. It isn't entitlement or strictly immature, even when so young, to want respect. Hell, to want to earn it is even better yet. And nobody will give him the time of day, the encouragement, the damn humanity of so much as placing a little trust in him to do something right for once. And then, we meet John Silver.
So, how'd that happen anyway?
You give up a few things, chasing a dream.
John Silver is a lot like James. He was an adventurous spirit who rebelled against a world that he felt held him down, and is someone clearly very storied and wise, who has dealt with these feelings of inadequacy and being lost in a big scary universe that doesn't care about you before. He embraced a pirate's life for the thrill and the high-risk, high-reward action. And while far less noble than James's reasons for wanting the money from Treasure Planet, they both share a goal in answer to the call of adventure. James finally feels it. The cogs turning, his place being carved, his competence is showing itself, and in a moment so intense as this already, the boy finally gets to prove himself to everyone. Then, as everything crescendos, as James is securing the last ropes, lifelines which without would mean certain death, they manage to escape the fiery and crushing death of a supernova and celebrate. James receives thanks from a high-ranking captain. John Silver gives him a knowing smirk and a nudge. All seems well. But then...
All hands accounted for, Mr. Arrow?
I'm afraid Mr. Arrow has been lost. His lifeline was not secured.
No, I checked them all.
Failure. He let everyone down yet again, and this time it cost someone their life. James is robbed of this feeling when he thinks he failed to secure a vital lifeline, smothering his once kindling sense of self-worth, because now, not only does he blame himself for the death of a good man, but his belief in his future is once again clouded by self-loathing and nihilism. Why would I ever think that I could help? I'm a loser. Amidst all these painful thoughts, a storm brewing in his mind like a tempest threatening to overturn whatever's left of his hope. Amidst the quiet, empty deck, barely lit by distant stars, we get this scene.
Now, you listen to me, James Hawkins. You got the makings of greatness in you, but you gotta take the helm and chart your own course. Stick to it, no matter the squalls. And when the time comes, you get the chance to really test the cut of your sails and show what you're made of. Well, I hope I'm there, catching some of the light coming off you that day.
This is why I made the video. This one scene is what reminded me why I wake up and why I do what I do every day. We live in a confusing and scary world, constantly beaten down, constantly judged, constantly made to feel as if we aren't enough and are replaceable, and many of us grew up without fathers. I myself was lucky to have one, but I relate to this message, to never being told exactly those words when I most needed to hear them from someone with the compassion and experience to make me believe it. I could relate to Jim because I hated myself. I truly felt I was useless, hopeless, ugly, the works. What John Silver says here to Jim is breathtaking, even in its simplicity. And between the animation and the music, well, to this day, this scene can bring a grown man to tears. Jim can say nothing. His racing thoughts have slowed. The adrenaline has faded from his outburst, and the soft and genuine eyes that look back into his own with no judgment, no underlying motive or attempt at manipulation, are what finally break through to him. Then they embrace, and under the taciturn and uncaring universe which moments ago crushed James Hawkins and threatened to swallow him whole in darkness, now once again felt like a boundless sea ready to explore. And for a moment, he is right where he needs to be. He is who he needs to be. We all need reassurance sometimes, especially when we don't have a sense of direction. Your life is nothing without a goal. You need some momentum to keep you going. It's in our biology. We're programmed to survive. But life has evolved to a point where our reason to struggle isn't as clearly defined as it once was. And with that comes many new challenges. Modernity has left many of us scared, not of death, but of life. I know sometimes it can feel like you simply weren't built for this world, or that our society being so difficult or insane is reason enough to just say, that's it, I quit. But I think what James Hawkins and John Silver show us is that life, in all its unpredictability and constant pressures, is a challenge worth taking on, but only if you rise to the occasion with confidence and start to change the way you see yourself. Because you aren't broken. You aren't worth less than anyone else just because you struggle with something that others have figured out. And you certainly aren't doomed to a life of unhappiness as long as you try. You fail when you give up, and you succeed every day you choose to try again, no matter the mistakes you may make. The only sure way to chart our own course is to greet our struggles with our head held high, no matter what may come of it. It seems easier said than done, I know that. It can be frustrating to try and try again, knowing how many times we've failed before. But we can always lift a lighter load until we're ready, and we can scale our problems down and take it step by step until we overcome them. Nothing is forever, only death. And this movie, this scene, is probably one of my favorite examples of this philosophy. At the end of the movie, Jim is on the right path to being the man he always dreamed of, headed to an academy where he'll learn to explore the universe, and who knows, maybe he'll even be a captain someday. The future, once a confusing blur, is now one of possibilities and meaning. Treasure Planet is truly worth more than its weight in gold for its entertainment value, as well as the lessons it taught us. Now, if you're feeling lost out there, that's okay. Just don't give up. Your age and your background don't matter, and I know how tempting it can be to focus on setbacks or outright failures in your past, which rightly inform you that attempting it again would be time spent and energy wasted for nothing. But like Jim, maybe you need to listen to your heart without judgment. What do you really want? how could you realistically achieve it? What things are holding you back? What is the most feasible, smallest first step you can take? Once you've found your purpose, get out there and seize it. Let nothing stop you. Trust me, we might not all have had a John Silver to tell us this, but that doesn't mean it's ever too late. And maybe we can be that person for someone else one day when they need it. It's probably just a little nostalgia, but I wanted a chance to talk about this topic and this movie. It's my first time trying this style, so I apologize if I came across as rambling or whatever, and please do let me know if you'd like more videos on topics in movies like Treasure Planet that helped shape you at any age, and I'm happy to have shared this movie and my little essay with all of you. Cheers, guys.
When I got on this boat, I would have taken you up on that offer in a second. But I met this old cyborg, and he taught me that I could chart my own course. That's what I'm gonna do.
And what do you see off that bow of yours?
A future.